Welcome back everybody, and what I'm going to be talking about today then is field stripping your rations for use in the field. Right then, so rations, anyone that's served in the military or anyone that does outdoorsy type stuff, it's quite a hot topic. People get quite excited about it. It's always something that you're going to look forward to at the end of the day, isn't it? And for soldiers, for troops, it's literally your fuel. So when you're out on operations or exercises, it's the thing that fuels you so you can do your job. It's not just a case of, oh, I feel a bit peckish, let's go down to McDonald's. It's literally the fuel that gets you through the day. So for that reason, it's a very important aspect. It's not just a case of taking things that are going to cheer you up a little bit, even though it does have that morale aspect to it. So to that end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through how I personally field strip my rations for use for going out either on exercises or how I did in the past on operations, because after you get a little bit of experience, then you're not going to take everything with you, and I'll talk a little bit about that as I go into it. So the British ration packs then, and I am going to be doing British ones here for anyone watching from overseas. This is the British ration pack. It comes in this rather dodgy looking brown plastic carrier bag. It's sealed, and it comes in a box of 10. Each one in the box of 10 is a different menu, which is a relatively recent thing. It's only been going on for I don't know how many years, probably 10 years or something. Prior to that, we used to get a box of 10 that was menu A, a box of 10 that was menu B, and so on and so on. The problem that created is sometimes we'd be away on, say, operations, and you get 4 or 5 boxes of menu A, and you end up eating the same thing for sometimes for weeks on end, which is absolutely horrendous. Anyone that's had to do that will agree. Even if you get your favourite menu, after 2 or 3 days of eating that same thing, it's horrible. It really is not nice. And I said earlier about the morale aspect. Really, that's the only thing you've got to look forward to when you're out in the field is food. So if you can't even look forward to that, your morale takes a bit of a plummet. So in the box of 10, you get this, and that basically, if you can see the very small writing on there, it tells you exactly what's in every ration pack. So when you open up the box, if you haven't already got a favourite, and you've got the option of just grabbing it like you were some mad crowd in Somalia or something, all the troops get around it, and they're all after the same menus often. I know that in the normal operational ones, the non-vegetarian ones, the menu 7 is a vegetarian one anyway, so the guys that don't want a vegetarian one try to avoid that. And there's another thing, they come in vegetarian and halal, and what's the other one? I can't remember the other one, but they come in a couple of different versions anyway. So the ration packs themselves then, they come in this plastic bag, as I mentioned. Each one's around about 4,000 calories, so a lot of calories packed into there. But as we go through, you'll see that personally I end up getting rid of a lot of mine. Not a lot, but a lot of stuff that is just niff-naff and trivia. So the calorie count will go down slightly, and I do feel that some of the calories are made up by junk that a lot of soldiers don't actually get to use, and it's just there for the ticking the box factor that we've created these with this amount of calorific value. They weigh 1.78 kilos approximately for each one of these, so that mounts up really quickly as well. So that's part of the reason why you're going to field strip the rations, or field strip the rations, should I say. Firstly, you don't want to be carrying junk around that it's just taking up space in your kit anyway, and secondly, to cut down on the weight. If you're out for a week in the field and you're carrying each one of these that's weighing around about 1.8 kilos, it's a lot of weight, isn't it? You add it all up. Right then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into this. I'm going to take out each item, and then I'm going to talk about whether I take it or not, and then what I do with it. So let's get it open. Okay, first thing I'm coming across in the bag is this sort of like brew kit type bag, and I'll come back to that in a minute, because that's got a bit more detail in it. Then one of the meals then, this is one of my favourites. This is meatballs and pasta, really good, especially with a bit of Tabasco. So that's definitely a keeper, 100%. Next thing I've got is a chocolate brownie. Now, I'm not a big pudding fan, I've got to say, but this is definitely good for your calories and stuff. Some of the older desserts were really sweet, and you'd be on operations out in Afghanistan and you'd literally see piles of the desserts, and it was just a massive waste of money and waste of space. So the ones like this, the brownies, they're pretty good, so I'll put that in the keep pile. Okay, here's one that's going to cause a bit of discussion. So there's loads of these in now, these fruit flavoured drinks and different kind of powdered drinks. Now, yeah, no doubt they provide a lot of calories and carbohydrates, stuff like that, but once you put this inside your water bottle, you can't use that water for anything else other than just drinking out of. You can't use it for making a brew or anything like that, and I tend not to bother with these. When you're in really hot conditions, actually it's quite warm today, then possibly, but I'm going to put that in the binned pile because I don't normally bother with them. Okay, there's another one. I'll get rid of that. There's a few. You get quite a few of these in now. There's another one. So that's all getting binned. In the older ration packs, we used to just have this one powdered drink. We used to call it Screech, because when you drank it, it made you go because it was so sharp. These ones taste a bit better, but I find that I tend not to bother with them because, as I say, you can't use that water for anything else once you put it in your water bottle, and it kind of taints your water bottle as well. It makes it, anytime you put water in it next, it tastes a bit funny. Okay, hot chocolate powder. Generally, I don't bother with that, so that's in the bin pile. I'm not a big sweetie person. Another energy drink, getting binned. Okay, so some of the snacks then, just fruit. That's a keeper. That's good for snacks during the day, for definite. It's always good to have stuff that you can eat on the move. So you could put that in a smock pocket. You could stuff it in a pouch in your webbing, and you can literally eat that on the move, because sometimes you get a chance to stop during the day. Biscuits then, so these ones are oat digestive biscuits, again really good for snacking on during the day, so that's a definite keeper. Okay, pork sausage and beans in tomato sauce, 100% keeper. So your breakfast that you have before you set off at the start of the day is a really important meal, because you may, as I just mentioned a minute ago, you may not get a chance to stop properly during the day. You may just get a chance to snack, or not even that sometimes. So it's really important you keep your breakfast. Okay, nuts then, bag of just nuts, great source of calories there and energy, so we're going to keep them. Right, now this one here, this one's Pindi Chala Aloo. Not a big favourite of that, and what I would do with this, if I was out for one day, I wouldn't bother taking this. If I was out for more than one day, or indeterminate amount of time, what I'd do is, say for a week's amount, I'll probably take 2 or 3 of these for a week, just to bolster up the rations a little bit. But not really a big fan of this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's fuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make out as though I'm out for 2 or 3 days, so I'm going to chuck that in there because it's going to add to your food. Okay, last things in here, just a couple of bits. There's some really poor hot sauce here called sambal or something daft like that. It must be some sort of flipping naffy special. That's getting binned 100%. If you'd run out of any kind of hot sauce that you're taking with you, then yeah, you might want to stuff that in there, but I've always got Tabasco in my kit, as you probably noticed, so that's going in the bin pile there. Water purification tablets, if you haven't got any already prepped in your kit, definitely take those. If you do have some, like I always have a small container with a whole load of these already prepped, then I wouldn't bother with these personally. So yeah, take them if you haven't got them. If you have already got them prepped, then But another good thing with these is you can use these to replen the ones that you've already got in your kit if you need to. So for me, they're getting binned. Alrighty, strawberry jam. Not the most practical thing to put in a ration pack, I suppose. For those that like sweeties a bit more, keep it. For me, that's a bin. Last thing before we get to the brew kit then are the windproof matches, and these are all right. again, if you these are good for is to replen what you already should have on you. I wouldn't rely on a ration pack for your ignition device, but they are a good backup and a good way of getting extras to you. So, you know, if you're out in the field for a long time, these are a great method of topping up your kit. But for me, because I've already got my stuff prepped in my kit, they're for the bin. Okay, what I'm going to do next is get into the brew kit then. So first thing out of here is some toilet paper. That's a definite keeper, isn't it? You're going to need that in the field for definite at some point. All right. Then what we've got is a couple of cleaning wipes. Personally, I don't bother with these, and it, you know, it depends on the unit, how you operate and all that, as to whether you're going to take these. You know, for those watching that are in the cadets, you're probably going to want to keep these because you have to clean your face to get the cam cream off. When I was serving, we didn't really wash our faces. We just put more cam cream on and got dirtier as the exercise progressed. Or on operations, you know, washing your face isn't a big deal, but they are good for washing your hands, for keeping clean and all that. Personally, I just don't bother with them, so they're for the bin. Spork, right, probably a bit of a contentious one this. I always carry my own spoon, my own racing spoon. I have one in my smock and I have one, a spares in the webbing. So when I was serving, we all basically stole these from the cookhouse. So this is probably 20 years old, I reckon, and it's still going strong. So we used to cut the ends off them, as you can see, so you get it in your smock pocket, tie a bit of cord on so you can attach it if need be, and it's a perfect size and it's a sturdy spoon. I mean, you know, the fact it's still going 20 years later proves a point. So again, it comes to prepping your kit, it comes down to that. These things are great if you've lost your spoon, but again, that's bad drills really. What you don't want though is if you're out for say 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a long term, you don't want to be getting one of these every day and having to bin it, do you? Because it's, if you're on foot, it's more kit that carries more rubbish to put in your kit. So for me, that's a bin, but it is good as a spare if you don't have a spare. So the actual brew kit itself then, what we've got is a couple of sachets of coffee, that's a keeper. Then we've got a couple of tea bags there, keepers, sugar and creamer, that's all keepers. All right, so that's all keeping. Chewing gum, personally I don't bother with it, you know, each to their own. If you want chewing gum, then it's there for you. I don't bother with it, so that's in the bin for me. Okay, I'll talk about the bag in a minute. Right, so what we've got left then out of that big bag of stuff is just this kit here, that's it. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk about how I prep it for use in the field. So I wouldn't just chuck it all in my day sack or my Bergen or whatever as it is there. What you need to do is prep it a little bit so that you've got it organised and it's not just rattling around, you know, brew kit flying everywhere and stuff like that. So the way I do it personally, and you know, everyone does things differently, is I take that plastic bag, which is one of the better things in a ration pack. It's a good little sealable bag actually, and then I'll put all the main meals in that bag. Like that, just seal that up. And then what I'm going to do is take the favourite, Black and Nasty, take a strip of that off, turn a little bit over on the end, like so. See, I've just poked a little hole in it there. You don't need that to be waterproof, so just poked a little hole in it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that tape over the mouth of the bag, and then the bit that I've doubled over, that's going to go over the end like so. So what you've got is your main meals there, and when you need to get to them, you just pull that and then open up the bag. So you can get around about 2 days worth of rations in one of those bags, possibly 3 at a push. So if you're going out for more than 3 days, then you're probably going to need a bigger bag, but if you're only going out for a couple of days or so, then that works fine. Or you could just, you know, have it in two lots of 2 days or whatever, or 3 days. Okay, same thing for snacks then, so nuts, biscuits, that sort of thing, chuck them all in there together. And personally, you know, I normally add to my snacks as well, because like I say, during the middle of the day when you're moving around, when you're patrolling, stuff like that, you're probably going to want to eat on the move quite a bit. You're probably not going to get a chance to cook anything. So what I normally do is I just bolster up these a little bit with a few other bits and pieces, you know, whatever, chocolate bars or whatever like that. And then same for that, you're just gonna, what I do is I just get a bit of the black tape, double over the end, close it up, and then exactly the same, so put the free end over and then the doubled up end over there, and then when you want to get to that, you just pull up and there it is. So, you know, that's only a smallish bag there, but depending on how many days you're out for, or how many rations you've been issued, then that's going to get bigger and bigger, isn't it? So, snacks, main meals. Okay, last bit then is your brew kit. Now, I tend to use a smaller bag for my brew kit because you don't really need one of these big bags. But, you know, whatever. And this is one that, as they say in Blue Peter, here's one I prepared earlier. So a small Ziploc bag with a bit of tape already on there, and I'm just going to chuck all that in there. So all my brew kit's going to go in there, and then toilet paper in there with it as well, and then zip it up. Okay, now I've seen some people putting labels on stuff, you know, white label on there, or writing on the bit on the Ziploc bag what's in there. You don't need to, do you? I mean, even if you've got your eyes closed, you can feel by the weight and by the texture, you know, if you was getting stuff out in the middle of the night to eat, you can feel their main meals. I can 100% feel that snacks, I can feel the nuts for now, and I can feel the biscuits there. Okay, you don't need to write on there. If you've prepped your own kit, it's pointless. And then, you know, obviously the brew kit's a completely different feel and size and weight. But that's it prepped then. That's the rations field stripped and prepped. The only thing that would change with this now then is each bag will get bigger depending on how many days you're out for. Now the stuff that I've binned, don't take it as gospel for what I've said there. What I've done is I've given you my opinion based on my experience. So, you know, for those of you that have only got a little bit of experience, you've only been in the field a few times, you know, everyone starts somewhere. You do what you feel you want, you know, what you need to take with you, what you think is necessary, the things that you like or don't like. For example, brew kit, you know, not everyone will like tea or not everyone would like coffee. So, but what I would suggest is you take stuff there for safety items as well. So what you're not used to drinking or eating, don't just bin it all and just go, oh, I don't like that stuff. You've got to eat and you've got to drink, haven't you? So make sure you take what's necessary for your job role, which again is another whole subject matter on its own. You know, whether you're dismounted on foot, whether you're mounted in vehicles, you know, whether you're operating out boats, whatever it might be. Your different requirements will change depending on how you operate and the length of time you're out for. So that's it wrapped up then. That's how I prepare my rations. That's how I strip them down and how I prepare them for use in the field. Anyone out there that's watching this then, that's got experience doing this sort of thing, let me know what you do in the comments, your thoughts, anything you do differently to what I've done here. Any things that you've picked up or any things that you agree with or disagree with. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay prepared.